High schooler Anzu Hoshino is only devoted to three main loves in her life: video games, chocolate, and her pet cat, Momohiki. She brings home a new video game which turns out to be completely different from what she purchased, and a wizard creature named Riri pops out of the screen and congratulates her for being a new test subject for Japan's low birth rate solution. Riri confiscates her most prized possessions and instead asks when the last time she developed feelings for males. She names two game characters. Riri makes it a challenge to make her fall in love with an actual male. Anzu declines her offer and makes it a mission to not get involved in any romantic feelings, no matter what Riri has up her sleeves. Coming out of a store, Anzu bumps into Kazuki and his phone crashes to the ground. When they make eye contact, she realizes he's one of the Iki men. She apologizes and flees. Later, she finds out he goes to the same high school as her. At home, Anzu is bored since all her favorite things are gone and she sees a roach. She runs out of the house screaming, wearing the wrong slippers, and sits at a park. Her situation gets worse as it starts raining. She hides under a bear-like attraction to escape the rain. As Kazuki offers the umbrella to Anzu, she thinks this is Riri's doing and that she's creating this romantic situation for Anzu to fall into. She doesn't accept his offer and tells him that she'll be fine without one, but her runny nose tells Kazuki otherwise. They both end up sharing the umbrella. Kazuki thinks she's avoiding him because she broke his phone. He assures her that he wanted to replace it anyway. After some time, Anzu asks him if he can help her get rid of the roach in her house, and he agrees to it. Anzu is still jittery and she catches herself what she thinks is a roach, but it ends up being a camera lens. She falls on top of Kazuki in a romantic position, but quickly gets away. Kazuki successfully destroys the roach. When Kazuki decides to leave, a severe rainstorm occupies the city and also breaks Anzu's glass window. Anzu doesn't want Kazuki to get any feelings for her, so she dresses up hilariously and plans to play board games. She wins the first game and bets the winner of the second game will have to make lunch tomorrow. Riri brings the second game and Kazuki wins it this time. Anzu's mad because she knows Riri made him win, and she knows about her tricks, but the wizard bonks her head and she falls asleep next to the couch. Kazuki ponders that he had fun after a long time today, and he sits next to Anzu, who grabs his arm, thinking it's her cat, Momohiki. When Anzu wakes up, she realizes she slept on Kazuki's lap and runs away, embarrassed. Kazuki heads back to his apartment but returns to Anzu's house, informing that only his room was flooded due to the heavy rainstorm last night. Anzu imagines this as Riri's doing once again to stir something between the two of them. Kazuki makes a phone call from Anzu's phone to rent another room. At school, a teacher reveals Anzu's number, thinking it was Kazuki in front of Kazuki's fans, Rina and Yukika. They both ask her if they can come meet him with her because they like Kazuki. Reaching the restaurant where Kazuki invited Anzu, he spots two other girls and immediately dashes off outside, saying that he was here to meet Anzu only. He mentions that he feels more comfortable around Anzu and is uninterested in dating anyone. This makes it easier for Anzu herself, as she didn't want to develop any romantic feelings towards him either. Anzu allows Kazuki to stay at her house temporarily for one more month, though she knows Riri manipulated his situation, but he makes it a deal on her helping with the house chores and won't freeload off of her. Riri appears again to remind her that this is just the start of her dating Sims life, and more men will come into her life to make it to another level. Right at that moment, another guy knocks on her door. It's the handsome, forgotten childhood friend. Anzu has no idea who the man is standing at her doorstep. That is, until he introduces himself as the forgotten childhood friend, Runta. Riri has planted false memories of Junta and Anzu to make it seem realistic that he really was someone she knew in the past. And it only makes matters even more complicated when Kazuki comes out of the same house as Anzu and the two men make eye contact. They're both intimidated by each other in ways like Junta is a baseball prodigy and tall, while Kazuki excels at academics and basically has a model face. Anzu's forced to go along with the childhood friend trope, even though it's fake, and at school she confirms she never had met such a handsome guy when she was a kid. She also notices that her lunchbox is switched with Kazuki's and returns him his box. This raises suspicion between Rena and Yukika, and Anzu clears that she's not dating Kazuki. Rena asks Anzu to set her up with Kazuki, but knowing that he's not interested in relationships, Anzu declines and they have a fight until a new blonde-haired girl comes and she starts an immediate conversation with Rena about breasts. Anzu realizes that the blonde girl is in fact a human disguise of Riri. Junta and Kazuki are found eavesdropping the whole time, and Kazuki's impressed by Anzu for standing by his side. Riri, in her human form, informs Junta and Kazuki that she's Anzu's cousin and invites them both to Anzu's house for dinner. Anzu screams to Riri that, "You're not my cousin, you devil," while Riri tells her that everyone can hear and see her when she's a human. Junta feels low-spirited after learning about how great Kazuki can cook. Anzu knows that this is a scheme from Riri to plan on making both the men stay at her house, and steals her wand, and when Riri tries to get it back, it flies away and lands on dog poop, losing its powers until the wand is cleansed. Kazuki assures Junta that he has no interest in dating anyone, and Junta asks if it's obvious that he has a crush on Anzu since childhood. At school, Anzu is asked questions about how she was able to walk with Kazuki, and she tells everyone they just live close, ignoring how much of a hassle it would create if she told them the truth. Anzu's curious at home to know why Kazuki has lived alone for so long, but saves that conversation for later. Later at night, an underwear thief breaks into Anzu's house, but the thief is terrified of her raging anger. She chases him down and he runs away, but Junta is able to catch him, passing him to the police. Junta's mom calls Anju and she explains how it's dangerous to live alone and that she insists her son stay with her as a bodyguard. Riri appears, showing her cleansed wand as if it was her plan to set up two men to stay at her house all along. To set a certain limit of interactions between two men and herself, Anzu gets a job and is relieved to find out that Riri's scheme is failing in making her fall in love with a man. Kazuki asks Anzu if she can go clothes shopping with him. He tells her that he doesn't like to shop online like her and would like Anzu to go with him in order to avert other gazes of women. Anzu agrees, but her closet is full of cat merchandise and there's not one outfit suitable for outside. Riri demands that she'll give her a makeover or she will take all her cat merchandise away. And Kazuki is flustered by the new look of Anzu in the new outfit and makeup. Anzu's determined to not fall into romantic traps during this quote-unquote date. While Kazuki waits for her to come back from the restroom, he feels all the gaze of women surrounding him, and he starts having a panic attack. He's relieved when Anzu comes back and apologizes for taking a while since she found a cute cat bracelet, but she refrains to buy it because she already shopped a lot. Kazuki buys it for her instead. Coming back home, Junta is reddened to see Anzu in a different look. Riri figures that the three of them have been living too comfortably and there needs to be some action taken to get the romance brewing. Anzu's alarm wakes her up the next day and she's running late to class when she's almost hit by a car, which belongs to another hot guy who's rich and self-obsessed. When the rich guy, Hijiri, steps out of the vehicle, he thinks this was Anzu's plan to make him interested in her. He addresses her as a commoner and tells her that there have been far too many girls who have done the same to gain his attention. Anzu yells at him and says she's nowhere near interested in him and leaves. He's shocked because she's the first girl to reject him, making Hijiri curious about her, and now he's determined to make her fall in love with him by bribing her with her three main loves: chocolate, video games, and cats. Riri suggests she can keep the gifts given by him, but Anzu tells him she doesn't want gifts that he bought from his parents' money. Hijiri is unexpectedly sad by this outcome, and he's employed at the same place where Anzu works. He's surprisingly good at customer service despite being rude. Hearing from Hijiri's bodyguard, Tsuchiya, that ever since Hijiri met Anzu it caused a switch in his personality dramatically, he's able to do normal things and live like everyone else. After receiving his first payment from working at the store, Hijiri offers to buy something for Anzu with his own money, and Anzu feels guilty, so she accepts it from him. Anzu asks for a soda and they both stand side by side at the park. The atmosphere is almost romantic after seeing Hijiri smile, but Anzu slaps herself back to reality. After reaching home, Anzu spots a text message on Kazuki's phone, and it's from another girl. While walking down the streets, Anzu bumps into an unknown man, making him spill his coffee on his phone. Anzu panics when he grabs her wrist and orders for her to pay for what happened, when another girl steps in for her and defends her. It's later found that the girl, Arisa, is the same person who texted Kazuki, and she's his older sister. The three of them have a conversation as to how Kazuki seems to adapt his old, happier personality again, and she would be happy if he stayed for longer. Anzu also admits that it's been fun for her to live with him. Riri is upset because her plans aren't working for Anzu to form a romantic bond with any of the Ike men, and transforms into a boy, and asks Anzu for a mock date for research reasons. They both go to the cinema and run into Kazuki and his friend. Kazuki spots them holding hands, and Anzu quickly explains that he's her cousin and Riri's twin brother. They watch a sad movie, which makes Anzu cry by the end. While sharing milkshakes, they encounter Hijiri, and Riho pretends to be a rival to gain his attention. "I would usually say don't fight over me, but you two are handfuls, so scatter," Anzu yells at them. Riho decides he had enough research on their date, and he plants a kiss on Anzu's cheek, making her awkward and furious. Junta's found defeated behind them after witnessing the kiss, with Anzu pleading, "Junta, you're mistaken, please." Anzu walks by Junta's baseball team and thinks about stopping by to see him practice, but immediately changes her mind because it will risk her becoming close to him. She dashes away and meets two elementary friends, Riporin and Amin, who plan on throwing a reunion with old classmates. They discuss how Anzu still hasn't changed from back then, where she played video games with a chubby and curly-haired boy, Tonta, who actually turns out to be Junta. Anzu is stunned by the realization that Junta was her actual childhood friend all this time, and not someone made up by Riri. When her friends meet Junta, they're amazed and call him a different organism. Back in Anzu's room, Riri explains that she, as a wizard, is not allowed to manipulate human emotions. Anzu's invited to the reunion, and so are the other kids she played video games with, including Ryuya, who puts on a tough act around Anzu. They play a game of bowling, and the loser team has to reveal the name of their first crush. Anzu's team wins, and the boys tell the names of their first crushes, and Ryuya seems to stutter and gives the wrong answer. Junta joins the reunion at the karaoke, and everyone's shocked to see his athletic transformation. Ryuya seems to be jealous, and he talks rudely to him. Anzu talks to Ryuya, and he confesses that he lied during bowling, and that Anzu was his first crush, but he ends up being rejected because he cheated on a girl before. Matters resolve between Ryuya and Junta when they speak again. Anzu is met with Junta, Kazuki, Tsuchiya, and Hijiri as she leaves from the store she works at. What an impeccable trio, she thinks. Anzu reminisces the time she spent with Junta and Kazuki as friends, but dislikes that Riri planned it all to make her fall in love with them. On the way, Anzu sees Saki standing by her house. Saki questions, what are those two guys doing with her? Anzu explains to Saki why she's living with two guys in her house, and Saki understands, but when Anzu goes further to explain why she's put into this position, she gets a sudden stroke of pain in the stomach. And it's a warning from Riri that she can't tell everyone that she's living a dating Sims life. Saki remembers the past when all boys at school crushed on her because she's beautiful, but she wasn't ready to date yet. Senior Mori seems like a nice guy on the outside, but he invites her to study and forces himself on Saki. She slaps a book in his face and runs away. Saki met Anzu at the same time, and she became a true friend to her because she stopped the rumors from spreading and was there for Saki when she needed her. The present day shows everyone going to a festival wearing yukatas to see the fireworks. At the end of the episode, Anzu takes a selfie with Kazuki, but the whole group appears at the exact time. A suspicious girl is seen checking her computer, zooming into a picture of Kazuki at the festival. A woman, Yukana, poses as Kazuki's girlfriend when she meets Anzu. Anzu is suspicious about her, and when Kazuki notices who the girl with Anzu is, he doesn't feel well, and Anzu asks Yukana to leave. Kazuki explains that this woman was a stalker, and she's the reason why he lived alone all this time. She began following him on a random street one day, and when he talked to his father about it, he said that he was lying, and it wasn't true. Yukana began to claim herself as Kazuki's girlfriend online, going as far as to once drugging him to put up cameras in his house to take intimate photographs with him. Kazuki's father was angered, and he even beat him, which made Kazuki's mother decide that he should rent an apartment and stay there and transfer schools. Knowing Yukana is back, Arisa moves in with Anzu too. Yukana convinces thugs to scare Anzu, but she's saved by her friends Junta, Ryuya, Tsuchiya, and even Saki's brother, because they received a message from Anzu which she never sent. Riri admits that she sent the text, but refuses that she can't do anything about the stalker woman, which makes Anzu drop her wizard wand in dog poop yet again. Junta speaks to Kazuki and tells him he only joined baseball because Anzu once said she likes athletic boys, and so he could do anything to protect her. Yukana spies on Anzu, and when she's done with her homework, she attacks her with a sharp knife. As Anzu starts bleeding, Kazuki rushes to protect her. Yukana is arrested for what she's done, but Kazuki's father still blames his son. Enraged, Anzu stands up to his father and takes him back to her house. Hijiri's father employs Yukana's uncle to make sure he doesn't cover up her crimes, so she serves in jail. Riri goes to Yukana to meet her, and then Anzu in the form of Riho, kissing her forehead and confessing his love to her before vanishing. The news breaks that Yukana has lost her memory of Kazuki. Everything starts to go back to normal when her parents arrive from abroad, bringing her main three loves: chocolate, video games, and Momohiki, back to Anzu. But she wonders, where exactly did Riri go? Kazuki tells Junta that he's in love with Anzu. A cupid named Kate appears to replace Riri, but Kazuki and Junta accidentally see her, so Kate and Anzu confess everything but are soon forgiven. Kate admits Riri has been removed for developing feelings for Anzu and using magic on Yukana when it was stated that she wasn't allowed to use any on humans. With Riri transformed into Riho, Anzu thanks him for an enjoyable time she had. Riho admits he wants to stay with Anzu, so she declares to Kate that there's a chance she might make Riho her boyfriend. By the law of Cupid, Kate is unable to separate lovers who have potential, and Riho stays. Anzu's parents return to America, and Katsuki and Junta continue to live with Anzu. Riri announces Anzu must choose a boyfriend before graduating high school, or she will lose games, chocolate, and Momohiki permanently. Kate is assigned to help another woman, that being Yukana, and that's the end of the video. As always, if you liked what you saw, subscribe to the channel. I'll be uploading a lot of videos just like this, so I'll see you at the next one.